Why did the Uber driver cancel his membership? Because he didn't even lift, bro. I'm here to stress the importance of schools promoting physical activity in children and adolescents. Physical activity is an important indicator of health and well-being. It is widely perceived that the onset of many chronic diseases occur early in childhood, and therefore it is important to establish behaviors that promote physical activity during childhood and adolescence. Current research consistently demonstrates the majority of American children do not consume diets that meet the recommendations of the dietary guidelines for Americans, nor do they meet the recommendations for physical activity. Physical activity accounts for 25 to 35% of the total daily energy expenditure in children and are a key component in the prevention of childhood obesity. In recent decades, there has been a decline in physical activity among children and youth. As a result, more children are overweight and obese today than any other time before. According to the CDC, less than 1/4 of children ages 6 through 17 participate in 60 minutes of physical activity per day. In 2017, only 26.1% of high school students participated in at least 60 minutes of physical activity on all 7 days of the week. In that same year, only 51.1% of high school students participated in muscle strengthening exercises on 3 or more days out of the week. The current recommendations for physical activity for children and adolescents are 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity daily for the prevention of obesity and for proper growth and development. Also to note, muscle and bone strengthening exercises should be done at least 3 days per week. Physical activity should be age appropriate and vary in the type of physical activity. Physical activity promotes dexterity, hand-eye coordination, and enhances physical skills. Although physical activity is very important during childhood and adolescence, in recent decades, opportunities for children and youth to be physically active have declined. Many schools throughout the U.S. and a few European countries have reduced the time devoted to physical education. Schools play an important role in ensuring that children and adolescents get the recommended amount of physical activity. Children and youth spend the majority of their waking hours at school, so the availability of physical activity at school is critical. PE lessons and school recess provide children with the opportunities to engage in physical activity during the school day. The World Health Organization has specifically identified schools as an ideal setting to promote physical activity for children and adolescents. It is recommended that 30 of the 60 suggested daily minutes of physical activity take place at school. Schools are a place where children and adolescents can learn about the importance of engaging in lifelong physical activity. Behaviors established during the early years are important as they help establish patterns of physical activity into adulthood. That is why it is important that schools continue to promote physical activity by implementing the comprehensive school physical activity program framework. Major components of this program include quality physical education, physical activity opportunities during the school day, physical activity opportunities before and after school, staff involvement, and family and community involvement. Having more physical activity opportunities throughout the school day will increase physical activity engagement along with health outcomes. Regular participation in physical activity is associated with important health benefits for children and adolescents. Physical activity has been associated with reduced rates of obesity, improved academic performance, and cognitive achievement, better sleep health, and improved health-related quality of life. Research has provided supportive evidence that physical activity behaviors track into adulthood. Physical activity behaviors developed early in life may persist throughout childhood and adolescence. These behaviors may be essential in the prevention of obesity and other chronic diseases later in life.